TIFU by catching my boss cheating on his wife. My boss, M, has been a co-owner of our franchise for about 5 years. His wife, E, is our office manager. They have 2 kids, one being barely a year old. It's just 3 other people in the office. Me, and 2 female coworkers, A and R. Thursday afternoon while A was on lunch, I went to ask my boss about something, and I instead found him making out with R in his office. He had his hands wrapped around her waist, grabbing her butt, and her arms were around his neck. They immediately pulled back and tried to play it off. The next day, my husband and I had to stay home because he was exposed to someone with COVID. And we were both ill. I messaged E and told her we needed to talk in person. But she said she's out of town until next week and to call her. So I did. I told E about what happened. And she was in shock. M called my phone a few hours later while I was in the shower. And my husband answered. M asked that I call him back. But I couldn't bring myself to do it because of how bad my nerves and anxiety were after everything that happened. Today, I went to check my work email to see what was on the agenda for Monday. I was locked out. Tried to log into our scheduling website, and I couldn't get in there either. I messaged M, and he said I was no longer employed because of excessive absences, even though termination would be the 3rd offense. And this was the first I work in an at-will right to work state, so now I can't even do anything about it. DR caught my boss cheating on his wife. My manager, with a coworker, told the wife, and now I'm fired for a completely unrelated reason. Can't do anything about it. Edit. I did already contact a lawyer. Minutes after I found out I was terminated, they said there's basically nothing I can do. Edit 2. A lot of people are mad I made their marriage my business, but when an affair is happening 10 feet from my desk in an office I'm in 40 hours a week and I work with all 3 of the people involved? That's my business now. I didn't ask to walk in on them. It just happened. Maybe people shouldn't conduct their affairs where they work. But that's too hard for some of you to wrap your minds around. Not true. You can still file for unemployment. And there may be questions that need to be sorted out. But the unemployment office will hear you side, and likely side with you, awarding you benefits from being wrongfully terminated. Rookie move. Everybody knows that you're supposed to extort your boss. Same rule in Florida, but you can still pursue wrongful termination. My friend just won against a previous employer for firing her because she took too much time off for her grandfather's funeral. The loophole was that it was in their own policy that termination comes after a 3rd write-up, and she'd never gotten one. If it's their policy and it is in the handbook, you definitely have a case. If you're in Florida, I can refer you to the law office that took her case and won. I would say that if you file a wrongful termination suit and in it describe the circumstances leading up to your termination, dude is not going to want that in court. Happened to me. I caught my female boss and a male coworker. It had as super awkward. It was outside of work. Both were married to other people. Both spouses I knew. I magically was not performing 2 weeks later at my mid-year review, which I never had the previous 4 years. My eval from the year before was exceeded expectations. It was crazy how fast she had me out the door with his help. I pleaded my case, provided proof why I was terminated. Unlawfully, mind you. And got UPI. I respect what you did, but if it were me I would go the blackmail route and get a raise. Right to work doesn't mean you can be wrongfully terminated. If you talk to a lawyer, I'm sure they can advise you better. I'd call the Department of Labor and report a retaliatory termination. As an FYI, Right to work doesn't have anything to why you can and cannot be fired. It controls whether unions need to cover, represent non-union, non-due paying employees, principally by banning security agreements, terms. At will is what you're looking for here. I agree, both suck donkey balls. By the way, as does your situation here. Being fired was inevitable. This is why some people never do the right thing. You have good morals and integrity. Can you go to work for their direct competition? Check the specific conditions of right to work in your area. Some states have exceptions for retaliatory firing. Definitely talk to a lawyer and file a complaint with the Department of Labor. Get in touch with the other co-owner as well as file for unemployment. Make as much noise as you can. You work at a franchise. Get another job tomorrow. If you had COVID and felt you couldn't go to work, why were you offering to see her in person? I mean, what did you expect would happen? You are living in a country where people can be fired for no real reason and chose to piss off your employer out of moral obligation. Good for you. You did the right thing. But did you expect that nothing would happen to you? You did the right moral thing, but really, what did you expect to happen? Definitely contact the franchise. Also, maybe their social media accounts would be a spot to post your story. Call your local news station and see if it's something they find interesting. Have you reached back to his wife? Honestly, it's for the best. The wife would see you as a constant reminder of her husband's tryst. It would be especially hard if they decided to try and work it out and saw you every day. If it's any consolation, the husband would have found a way to terminate you anyway. Since you were a witness, best to just leave and forget the drama. Why do I think the people telling op to mind their own business are actually cheaters too?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicuricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.